Jesus saved my life, and this is my testimony. It's kind of crazy how the devil is attacking, because I recorded this video for an hour and it hasn't saved in my phone. But anyway, I don't care because Jesus already won. So I'm just gonna go straight to the point and share what I lived. First of all, I want to say I was born and raised in a Catholic family. I went to baptism and also communion, but I was never really a believer. I must say, I thought God existed when I was a kid, but I lost my faith during my teenage years. I've experienced a lot of violence in my household when I was a kid. Also, my parents got divorced, and I saw a lot of abuse happening, like between them. My mom was also sick. She ended up sick because of this, and she was suffering from schizophrenia, and thanks God that she's recovered now. This is really another God's blessing. But I saw all of this, so my mom couldn't really take care of me and my brother, and we moved into my grandparents' house. Thanks to them, we managed to have like proper education and proper like food and a house also to live in, because my dad wasn't really taking care of us, like maybe with like the minimum like provision, but we were really lacking like that figure. And even though it wasn't either perfect at my grandparents' house, we suffered a lot also from scarcity and lack. They they were immigrants also in Spain. My dad is from Peru and my mom is from the Philippines. So they never had it easy. And between all of this, I saw how hard it was to just go through life. And I thought, like, if life is so hard, then what's the point in living? I remember having this thought since I'm like maybe 11 or 12, something like this. And also, adding up to that, I was the only like international kid in my school. So I suffered a lot from racism and bullying with my brother, and I was seen like as a very like weirdo and different girl, and I suffered a lot from that too, because I never saw any girl like me on TV or on ads or even in the street. Everyone was like white and Spanish. So I was born in Spain, and it was very very hard also growing up like that. I also felt like I was never really wanted by my parents somehow, because my dad left and because my mom was usually taking more care of my brother, so she got more attached to him. And I felt like I was always like growing up by myself, even if of course like my parents, like my mom was doing what she could, and my grandparents were also taking care of me and my uncles. But I felt like I wasn't a really loved child, and I really didn't feel a lot of love. And I remember like feeling very unwanted since I'm a kid, and also thinking from the age of 12, 13 that I didn't really want to live. And if I would see all this kind of suffering in my life, I always thought like, anyway, if I'm always going to suffer anyway, what's the point in living? I was thinking one day I will just go away and disappear and just unalive myself. But thanks to God and thanks to my mom, of course, I'm still here. I'm never going anywhere. I'm now in a very good God's path. But the only feeling and thought that could keep me alive was like, I need to be alive so that my mom will still be fine, even if she's still struggling a lot with like her mental health. She really couldn't take care of us. You don't really know how it's like to have a sick, like mentally ill mom. It's very very hard. She would have like a lot of anxiety and panic attacks, and I saw, since I'm a very very young girl, what being suicidal was like, because I saw that in her. So I also ended up hurting myself since I was 13, like really hurting myself, like cutting myself, Also, started to get obsessed with food and with my physical image because I felt like that was the only thing I could control. And I stopped a little bit the hurting myself thing, but I was still punishing myself through food and exercise and my physical image. I was extremely exigent with myself. I was a perfectionist, and like nothing was ever enough, and I was always striving for the best, because the only recognition that I would have from my family, from my dad, was like educational success, and that it turned after in life in like work success. Anyway, I don't want to say still that my parents or my family, like, they're bad or something. They just did what they could with what they have. Now I'm fine with it. Like, I love them with all my heart anyway, and I know they really did what they could with what they have. So it's now all fine, but we really went through a very, very hard childhood and teenage years. And as I was saying, when I turned like a teenager, I started to go into the gym. So I started to get very obsessed with my physique because it was the only thing I could control. But I really didn't want to leave. So somehow I was like training like for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours nonstop, barely eating. And the little that I was eating, I was feeling very, 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 very guilty. And I would blame myself a lot for eating, and I would like really hurt myself with my words and my thoughts. And I was just really like taken by the devil, really, because at this time also I didn't have a lot of faith. I lost my faith in God because I saw how God can allow this kind of like suffering in my mom, in between my parents, also with the struggle for like having a good life, with like getting money and like food and all, like everything like that my grandparents went through to support us and to provide for us. Like, it was too much, and I thought, then what's the point in like living, and what's, and how is it, like, is God not seeing this? Like, why is he not taking care of us? He was, of course, taking care of us. I believe now that he was, because I'm still here, we are all here. But I really lost my faith back then. And even if we still went to church, and as I said, I was baptized and had my first communion, still I just really didn't believe in God. And because also our faith was kind of like imposed, I really didn't understand the meaning of God and why did we have to behave well. Like, I thought like, okay, if there is a God that's gonna punish me, then I really don't want to talk to him, I really don't want to get to know him because I'm scared. And also, when I started to be a teenager, I started to have like boyfriends, and I had one that we had like a toxic relationship, because I was being a toxic one, actually. But it wasn't good, and after 1 year and a half we broke up, and from then I started to just have like casual encounters, like just non-formal sex. And I started just to give myself to sin, because it was the only way I could feel some kind of love. You get me? I don't blame myself, and I know God doesn't either. It was a way I had to go through life without like God, and without faith, and without the love that without any kind of love. I didn't have any kind of self-love, and I didn't have any kind of like love. Like, I didn't feel it, at least from my parents and from my family members. Like, they tried their best, but honestly I needed God. But I didn't know that, so I was just trying to get some like kind of love, from attention, from like recognition, from also from my image, and from the physical recognition I was getting, and social recognition I was getting also by going to the gym, because before that I didn't have any friends. I was bullied, so it kind of helped me to go through life. But then when I turned 18, I moved out of my city in Spain, and I moved to the capital, so to Madrid, and I started to study my degree. and at the same time I started to work. I was studying and working at the same time, and I got very dependent to my image, actually, to my physical image, but also to my social recognition and how good of a student I was, how good of a trainer I was, because I started to work in fitness also. So I was still consumed by this fitness culture of just looking good and like tracking your macros and like fasting, but not fasting to seek God, just fasting to um, lose weight or feel like thinner or looking more shredded or this kind of things, you know. I was obsessed with my physique, I must say. I was obsessed with liking, like being liked by others, and I was obsessed with educational and work recognition. I was obsessed also with looking good in front of everyone, but I was really like fucked up inside because I really didn't have any kind of self love that is actually like love from God. I didn't have any kind of love. Like I didn't feel God's love even if He was taking care of me. And I followed this path for some years. So for 2 years or so, I was also traveling a lot. So imagine my image was building a lot because I was like between my 18 and like 20 years traveling so much by myself, meeting so many people, like hanging out, partying, going to festivals, still having like sex with like people that I didn't really have any commitment with. I was still sinning and still obsessed with all of these things and not seeking God. I somehow always knew that something was taking care of me. My grandma like believed a lot in like angels and like spirit, like guardian angels from God, and my grandma was always very like talking about God or like connected to God. So I always thought, okay, it must exist, but I really didn't feel it in my life. And I was also, I think, so ashamed to even talk to God because I thought, how can I talk to Him? Like, look, the life that I'm like doing and like how I'm sinning. So how can I just go to Him and be humble if like I am like, no, you know, I never thought of talking to God. But anyway, in 2020, in the COVID year, I had a long relationship also with one guy. So I was committed to him for 1 year and a half. But after we broke up, I started again to just like completely evade myself. I don't know if you say that in English, but it's more like yeah, avoid myself. So I was avoiding myself and my thoughts and my feelings by just like still traveling and partying and just meeting people and just still seeking for non-committed like relationships and sex. And at some point I got very, very scared because in 2020 I traveled and I was like visiting some friends, and in this visit I also wanted to like meet people, so I opened like a dating app and I started to hang out with the guy there, and we got involved, but also with like drugs were also involved, and it was so scary like how I felt because I was manipulated actually, and I was very young, and also I really didn't have experience, you know, he was way older than me. So drugs were involved and I was manipulated, and in that moment I was high and I felt like I'm not going out of here. Like I was feeling like, oh my god, like I'm gonna be the next one that's gonna be on the TV, like disappeared, and what's gonna happen with me. I felt this time was the first time I really like felt death in front of my eyes. I really felt like maybe tomorrow I won't see my mom. Like what's gonna happen to me, you know. I was so scared, and I think this was the first time I talked to God like, please God, take me out of here. I really don't remember, but I think so, yeah, because that was the only way, you know. I thought I'm so fucked up, like right now I'm at my worst, like I don't see the way. I'm with these people because it was kind of like a party and everyone was like bigger than me. Like I didn't even know the place, I didn't even know the city, I was just like traveling, you know. I don't even know the language they're speaking here. How can I even call the police? What can I say? Like no, but gladly I spoke to my friend and he took me out of there because he was living just like 5 minutes away, and I was like, thanks God. But really this was like this was like God, because everything went so smooth even, but it could have turned out so wrong. But really, it was like I felt like I was playing with death at that time, and the devil really got me there. And I'm so happy it didn't go well, because if that experience would have gone somehow well, like, it was also one of, like, first time, actually it was the first time I was trying drugs, because I thought it would be fun, whatever, and they also like manipulated me, as I said. So yeah, that happened. But from then, like, I got very traumatized, and it's true that I stopped meeting up with people for a while, but still I really didn't seek God, you know. I was like, okay, this must have been, like, I don't know, my angels, or like, yeah, God, but I was still so, I don't know, scared of talking to him, you know. And I kept on going with my life. I stopped meeting up with like random people for a long while, but when I began, and I also began to party, because it was after COVID, finally 2021, when I started partying and traveling again, this old habits came back, and I was still encountering like super toxic, dangerous people. Like, it wasn't the first time that I had to run away from a place. So yeah, but still, I don't know. I didn't even think of going to therapy. Like, I don't know. I was thinking it's okay, maybe I'm just like, this is happening, this is how the world is, you know, because I also used to be so naive. I also used to be like so good and open and like kind, and I was always thinking like people is just like me, so everyone has good intentions of just like, okay, partying, but meeting people, but enjoying, but just like being good, you know, not with like any kind of madness. But actually, like, all kinds of madness are involved in that part, in that sector of life also. But yeah, still, I only decided to go to therapy and to seek for help when I developed again like eating problems. I still was going with this obsession with the physique and food, and I was never like calm about it, being honest, because it became like a way of life for me, sadly. But on 2021, 2022, I started to seek for help, because I couldn't anymore. I had so much anxiety, like I couldn't stop eating sometimes, and sometimes I would stop for 2 days, I didn't eat, but then on the third day I was like eating every single thing I could find in my kitchen, and I couldn't anymore. I was thinking I really have a problem at this point. So I seeked for help, and gladly it helped a lot. But I never really had the like feeling of real forgiveness, you know. I felt like really hugging my inner child, and like we did like shadow work and this kind of all like and trauma like release. And it is true that it brought a lot of like light also in my world, because back then I didn't even think that there was a problem with me, you know. I didn't even think I was still depressed, because if you could see my life, I was like like hiding everything so well, you know, because I was like 20, 21, 22, and I was earning like a good money for being still so young and still studying, but still traveling so much. I was like in already like more than 20 countries around the whole world by myself. And I was also like meeting so many people, partying, going to Tomorrowland, going to this concert, going to this festival, like just meeting people everywhere, you know. So I was like, my life is amazing, like how can I be depressed, you know. And then we went through what I went through my life in childhood, and then I understood that, well, actually it makes a lot of sense that that this is what it's happening, you know. But the devil also got me, you know, for a long time. And after that, I must say I started to get into new age practices. I started to believe a lot in the power of the universe, the power of manifestation, and all of the law of attraction, law of assumption, and all of these manifestation techniques, affirmations, subliminals, also stones, tarot cards, oracle cards, and also like healing retreats, blah, blah, blah. I did a few. And I felt like somehow it was helping me. I felt really, because honestly, it works. I must say it works, but it doesn't come from God. So when it doesn't come from God, it's like be aware, because it can be from whatever. And I was thinking, okay, this is helping, and I felt like I was in control of everything, and that I was my own creator, and then that I could do my own life, and like I could finally like manifest the life of my dreams, and finally like just create my own reality in my own terms. And honestly, this was working, but it only attracted like fake, like fake results, like it looks legit, but it's not. Like I was attracting people, but it wasn't the proper people. For example, I was trying to manifest the love of my life, because at this point I was tired of meeting just random people, and I really was seeking for commitment. But I wasn't so committed to God. So I was just like asking the universe and like thinking of how like my ideal like partner could be. And I was trying, and I was attracting people that could have those traits right now. But there was always something, and at the end they ended up being like narcissists, or being weird, like crazy people, crazy men. And it was like at the beginning, yes, so maybe we started to date, and after some weeks I started to see the truth, so it was really this, in this ways the devil really like tries to get you, tries to get you to think some things that are not true, because true pure love comes from God, and true power comes from God, and whatever is the rest, it's like only like the rest. So be careful. Anyway, I was thinking I was doing fine by them, but I really never felt still that the sense of security and peace and stability and real pure love that I was trying to look for, until I really met God. And how I started to get close to God back in 2022, 2023, I had one teacher that she like really introduced me into real faith. I remember I told her I was struggling to get out of bed because I was so depressed and anxious, and I don't even know why I said that, because I wasn't telling anyone how I was doing. But I went to talk to her because I was missing a lot of her classes, and then I really said like, well, this is happening, and then I started to talk to her, and God bless her. God really thank you for bringing this person into my life, because I could understand the real faith and the real love from God, even though I was still praying to the universe and believing in all of these manifestation techniques during all 2023 and part of 2024. But this helped me to start to also pray to God, and to like bring God into my life, to open the door for God. So I'm very thankful to her, and this was like the first time I decided to really to start to seek the truth, and to seek God, even if I was still involved in all of these other techniques. I thought they were fine, but I really didn't know God yet, so that's why. But I'll keep telling you how my faith got stronger when my grandfather passed away. I got closer to God because my grandfather died. And it was very hard because he got cancer, lung cancer. And we didn't really know the time he would have. When they told us his state, it was already in phase 4, which means like stage 4, which means like it's already spreaded like in his body, and you don't know what can happen. Anyway, he fought, and God gave him still 4 more months of life. But during this time I really got close to God, because we didn't have any other like faith. We just needed God. We really needed a leap of faith, and we really needed a miracle and a big blessing from him, so that my grandpa could still live, because his state wasn't good at all, and we were seeing him dying. And I remember just praying a lot with my grandma and just going a lot to church. And in this moment, like, I really got closer to God. And especially when he died, because I really didn't know how to handle with that pain. I didn't even understand what my grandfather meant to me until he died. Because even if I loved him and I tried always to show my love for him, we also had like hard times. And I just didn't really understand he really played like the role of a father to me. I only always saw him as a grandfather until he died. I saw he was really my father. You know, he really took care of me like my father, and he took care of me like as if I was her, really just her daughter, not granddaughter, you know. So, but I'm happy because after that, I got closer to God. Also, my family, because we have family from everywhere. I told you they're from the Philippines. So, we were just like calling on Zoom and like doing like a novena prayer for him. And after that, we were also praying like after his 40 days of death and every now and then, and still going to church. So, this helped so much, and it got me closer to God. And I started to also pray to God. I was still kind of praying to the universe, you know, but I was including God a lot more, and I was talking to God expressly to God, you know. And then a beautiful blessing came into my life in summer last year. I met the love of my life, and this moment was really so special, and it was really just a blessing from God, because I was tired of meeting people. I was still manifesting the love of my life, asking the universe, but asking God too, but still believing in my manifestation, you know? So I was still a little bit in the middle. But I was still only attracting stupid, like, men. I don't want to say stupid, sorry, but just men that were just looking for pleasure and non-commitment, and I didn't want that anymore. And at one point I got so tired. I remember talking to God, just like so angry. It was the first time I think I talked to God like being angry, you know, because I was always like just talking to him, like saying thanks for all of the things I had, and also just begging for what I wanted, you know, for my prayers, what I would call manifestations, you know. But at this point, when I talked to him, I was like, God, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of meeting these people that, like, I'm just looking for my husband, you know, and what you're bringing into my life, it's really just whatever. And if this is the kind of man I'm going to encounter in my life, then I'd rather not have anyone. I'd rather be single my whole life or be by myself the whole life than just spending time with men like this. And I was just like really saying like, I'm completely done. Like, if this is what you're going to bring to me, then I don't want anything else. I love myself. I love my life. I love my family. I love my friends. I love what I do. I love dancing because I'm a dancer too, and I was working in like a dance job in Greece last summer, and I was like, I'm done with everything. I know I got you too, so this is enough for me, you know. If I'm never gonna have the love of my life, I'd rather have a chill, calm, peaceful life in which I'm gonna be like fine by myself than having like problems with people or even engaging with people that are not committed or that are just like, sorry God, but dumb for me, you know. And at this point, God really hurt me because he delivered, and he delivered the love of my life exactly that week. I think it was 2 days after I had this raw talk with God. And then I knew it was like the love of my life, and it is the love of my life since the first moment, because when I kissed him, I felt a yes in every cell of my body. I felt God. I really felt God, and I felt pure love, and I felt like, I don't know who this is, but I don't want to be with anyone else in my life ever again. Like, I know this is him. And I knew it also because I completely let go, because before I was really trying, still manifesting, still open to receive, still, you know, still like really trying so hard, but this time I completely surrendered and I didn't care anymore. And God delivered. And from there, I must say, I still went back to therapy because I had a lot of commitment issues because of everything I've been through life, and it was a struggle. And I have to say also that besides everything, I still somehow felt like there was something wrong with me, and that I just like didn't want to leave anymore, you know. Even if I liked everything, and now like I had a good life, I had a good like love relationship, and there wasn't any more danger and like anything else to worry about in my life, still I was like, but I know at some point I'm gonna suffer again, so what's the point in being alive? I was still with these thoughts because the devil was still trying to get me. And a month ago after this, because I was so tired. Also, I was having like strong like nightmares, and like with war, with like death, and with like so many things. And I was like, I prayed to God and I started to read the Bible. And in this moment, oh my God, I felt and I experienced true healing, immediate true healing. No need to do anything else, no more shadow work, inner work, scripting, manifesting, whatever. No, nothing fake, but really true healing, like completely letting go of it and surrendering to God. And wow, like that experience, that enlightenment, that wow, it was like so new to me, and I feel so blessed to be able to share now this to you. And I can say it now, like good God took me out of everything, like from trauma, from drugs when I experienced that, from parties, from just earth pleasure, from sex, from food, from my obsessions with food, with my image, with macros, with even manifestation techniques, and thinking that I am the real like creator of the universe. I was thinking even these things, or thinking that I am a goddess. And even if I could like this idea, because everyone loves to think like I can do whatever, but that's not true, and that's not healthy either. It's good to co-create with God and believe that he is really the creator of all, and you have like free will to build the life that you want. But believe me, God will show you the life he wants for you too. And honestly, that's the life that will make you the happiest, that will make you feel the best, and that will like the best in your own self, and with God, and in world, in the community, so it's possible. I've experienced it too, and it's not easy. I'm seeing also how like how the spiritual world is real. I didn't really know that. I never thought like this was a thing, but I see it now, and I'm reading it too, and talking to people that have experienced it and that are experiencing like walking in God's path. It is so true. The devil is always trying to get you like in some kind of way and tempting you, but remember this: God already won. So if you're already going through any of this, if you just started to seek God, if you've always felt like there's something weird in all of the things you're trying, like any like manifestation technique, any kind of healing, Reiki healing, that's not from God, believe me, or yoga or whatever, like all of those things are really just distancing you from God and making you more a slave to those techniques. When God really sets you free, like I've never experienced this kind of freedom and like sense of awareness to God and to like happiness, and freedom, real freedom and real glory. And I hope you will feel this too, and I hope that you will like open your heart to God, because once you do that and once you have faith, believe me, salvation, it's already given. It is a gift, and it is in the scriptures actually. And I understood it finally when I started to read the like God's word. I started to read it and think, and this clicked in my mind like so good, because it literally says, and I will put it in the description, the scripture, the part that says so: once you already have faith in God, you will receive salvation as a gift, not by your works, so that no one can boast about it, but because of God. So you don't have to do anything else but just to be with God and have faith in him. And that's it. It's not like any other like technique that you need to do 100 things, script, manifest, subliminals, affirm, and like do 100 meditations, 100 like hypnosis. Like believing, I tried all of those and nothing gave me the security and the stability, the happiness and the healing that God gave me and that God is giving me. So I pray in Jesus' name that you will also start walking God's path and seeking God, and you will see how really God is with you. God has never let you down. When I didn't believe, he still saved my life, And this, you can also see it in scripture. Like there's people that don't believe, but still God shows him like his power, because he still believes in you even when you don't, and he still sees you and loves you no matter what. So just open your heart to him and you will see. And you can do this, and you can recover from anything. Okay, you can start being free today, really today, and not being free by thinking you're empowered because you get to have sex with anyone and you're so free, or that you get to travel anywhere and like you're meeting people from all over the world as I did, or having a fancy job and being able to afford whatever you want with money. That doesn't make you free or empowered. Like, God makes you really free. God does. So I hope this video helped. Please reach out if you need anything. I love you. I love you. I love you. And you're already saved. God already won. So don't be afraid by the devil. Don't be afraid by any of the attacks. Like, God already won. Believe that and remember that, okay? You deserve the best, and that God will show you. So reach out if you need anything. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Also, the donations link is down below. It helps a lot, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye. God bless you.